Hello everyone, welcome to my hell. I got into comedy so I didn't have to get up at any time earlier than noon, but here we are. There we go. Look how quickly that was. Success is yours. So my name's Urzila Carlson. I'm a comedian, I'm a writer, a columnist. I do heaps of, sorry. Tag me. I see some old colleagues in the room. I used to work in advertising, but I'll start from the beginning. I moved from South Africa, where I used to work in the newspaper industry, and then I moved over to New Zealand in 2006. I started working in advertising, and everyone assumes I was a copywriter. I was never a copywriter. I used to be a Mac operator and a photo retoucher. That was my job. And it was, a lonely job, really. Like, we'd sit in pods and work together. Like, I'd be in an office full of other people, but I'd always have my headphones in, so I didn't have to listen to other people. And I could just carry on with so in a way, it was very, lonely. And I would just do that job every day from early in the morning till late at night. Sometimes I'd take a disc home and I'd go work at home. And then again the next morning, the same thing. And when I did take the headphones off, we'd always have a nice chat, and we'd have a good laugh in the office. And I used to work at Ogilvy at that time, and we'd have such a good laugh in the office when I did take the headphones off that all my colleagues would go, "You should go do stand-up." And I'd go, "No, thanks. I'm already nailing life. I've got a good job. My mum's already proud. I don't need to move in any direction." But I mean, I've already, I'm not scared of change. That's not my thing. But in my mind, I've already made the biggest move I'd ever need to make, and that was to move countries. So if anybody said, "Oh, you're scared of risk or you're scared of change," I go, "I've immigrated." So I've ticked that box. I don't need to take any more chances in my life because I've already got the story. So when they started going, "Oh, you should go into a different thing," I'd go, "You're out of your mind. That's public speaking. Nobody's keen on that." Just by quick show of hands, who's keen on a bit of public speaking? Yeah, I kind of got the confidence out of that. So not a lot of people are keen on it. Not a lot of people go for it. So when they started going, "You should do public speaking," I thought, no, that's not for me. But then I left Ogilvy to go over to a different agency, to go over to Y&R, and as a leaving gift, they gave me a fake contract to go do an open mic spot at the Classic here in Auckland. And they'd already booked it in. They'd booked in my open mic spot because they could sense by me going, no, for 12 months that I wasn't keen. So they booked it in, and they booked seats for about 70 of them. So 70 of my friends, family, colleagues, they were all going to go. And I didn't want to look like a tit and not sign the contract. So I signed it, and it was all good fun. Friday drinks, the Friday drinks trolley was involved. So I went and I did the open mic spot. It was the scariest thing I've ever done. Like, my leg couldn't stop shaking. I nearly bent the mic stand. But I got through the 4 minutes, and people were laughing, of course, because I knew 70 people in the room. I've loaded it with, my own supporters. And then afterwards, we all went into the bar. We had a few drinks. One comic came up to me, Brendan Lovegrove, and he goes, "How many times have you done this?" I go, "This is literally the first time I've ever done it." And he goes, "Oh, you have to keep doing it." I said, No, I've done comedy. I've now ticked that box. If anybody says, "Have you ever done comedy?" Yes. It's like skydiving or bungee jumping. Yeah, I've done that. I haven't done bungee jumping or skydiving, but I've done comedy. So I said, "No, I'm not into that." And we just finished our drinks and we left. And with that little bit of "you should do it," that confidence booster from him, I left. The next day, I got a call from the owner of the club to say that I'm through to the next round. And I had no idea what he was talking about, but we didn't know it was sort of the same time as now, where it was at the start of the comedy festival, and they run a competition every year called Raw Quest, where they look for new talent. And they run this competition, and people go at it for, trying to get into this, and I didn't know that they entered me into this thing. So I made it to the semi-final. When the guy phoned and he goes, "You're through to the next round," I said, "No thanks, I'm not interested in that." I just did it as a work thing. Give it to someone that wants to do it. Like, I'm not into it. He goes, "But you were very funny, people were laughing." I said, "Mate, everyone was laughing because I knew 70 of your audience members." And he goes, "I was in the room, I was laughing, you don't know me." And I said, "Oh, fair call." Now, I should say, I believe in grabbing every opportunity as it comes to my door. I don't show opportunity away. When it knocks on my door, I will grab it. Because I had a teacher that said to me in high school, "There's no greater waste of time than regret." And since that day, whenever anything comes up, I feel like I should do it because I don't want to get to that point where I regret it. So if anything comes up, I will give it a go, except for bungee jumping and skydiving. When he phoned and he said, "Well, you were great, you should come back and do it again. Don't tell anyone. Just come back and do it and see how it goes." I thought, all right. So I wrote another 4 minutes, went back, did it again. People still laughed. And I made it to the final, but it didn't really matter where in the competition I was at this point, because after that second time on stage, I was hooked. I was in. I was like, I'm loving this. I'm going to do this. I didn't know which road to take or, what happened in comedy, because I'd never even heard that there was a thing. I didn't even know you could have that as a career. At that point, I didn't think I'd do it as a career. I thought it could be like a hobby like candle making or something, And I was petrified, but like I just said to someone before, when I just started driving, I drove down this narrow road where my auntie was living, and there were cars parked on either side, and I had to wait for a car to come from the front. It was really narrow, and the car came past, and then it was my turn to go. And in my head, I was like, you can't fit through that. Your car, you're going to bump both cars on both sides. But then I knew I wouldn't, because I saw another car do it. So I knew my car would fit. I just needed to line it up right. So I just kind of lined up my car, closed my eyes and floored it, and I made it through. So I was petrified then, and every time when I'm in a situation now where I go, oh my God, I have no idea what I'm doing, I'm just flooring the car through that is potentially not the best way to do it. Like I'm not a driving instructor, thank God, but that fear that I had that I might not do it and that I might get into an accident, that absolutely, I was absolutely petrified. But then I apply that to everything. If I go, well, A, I don't want to regret it, and B, I won't bump the cars. I just need to push through the fear, and I will get to the other side. So as soon as I decided after that second gig that's it, I'm going to do it, people kept booking me for gigs, and I kept going, not having any idea what I was doing. But then after a year of doing my first gig, I got called in to the office at Y&R because I'd been going so hard at the comedy thing and just flooring it between the cars, basically, that I had used up all of my leave. I'd gone into the red to go pursue gigs in Australia with my leave. I owed them days. I was now paying them to work there. That I got called into the office, and they said, I discussed with my wife, who was still my girlfriend at that time because it was still illegal to get married. And I said to her that I want to quit my job and do comedy full time, but I don't know that leap, to get over to that side. Because at this point I was getting paid $40 a gig. Now I don't know if you have rent to pay, but that's not enough. But I said, we worked it out, and with her pay, and if I do enough $40 gigs, I'd be able to do it. We'd have to move into a shared situation, but we can do it. And I said, all right, I'm going to give up my job as soon as Christmas is over. In the New Year, I'm going to go in and quit my job. And she was backing me 100%. We're going to move into a flatting situation. And before I could go, just before Christmas, I got called into the office and they said, we're going to have to make you redundant. And I was so happy. I tried not to show it, and I asked if I could quickly go to the bathroom, and I sent my wife a text. I go, oh my God, you won't believe the luck. They want to make me redundant. And she goes, don't smile too much in the meeting. Just ask for them to do the paperwork as soon as possible so you can get out of there, because I had signed a contract to go do a month's worth of gigs in Australia in February, so I didn't have long. I couldn't give them 3 months of notice. Just get me out of here so I can go. So I signed the contract, and it was just one of those things where I just floored it past the cars. And I truly believe this. If you do what you're supposed to do in life, everything will fall into place. So every time since then where I've gone, I don't know if we're going to be able to pay rent this month, then a big gig will come up and we do pay rent, or like that where I go, we are not going to be able to get over Christmas, to get through that 5 weeks in Australia with no money. If I quit my job and I owe them money, because I've used up so much leave that I don't even have. And then they make me redundant and I get a 3-month payout. So everything has sort of fallen into place. Come hell or high water, I've made it. And so far it's been going well. I haven't had to go back and freelance, which is always in the back of my head. I go, just stay on top of the program so you can go back if you need to. But I haven't had to, and I personally think my attitude would stink at the moment if I go back. I don't think I'd be really good at taking orders. What did you say? So I do think I'll treat a boss like a heckler at the moment. But that move, when I went and signed up and I did it, immediately I almost felt like I could hear it click. And I've not looked back. It's opened so many doors that I didn't even know there were, passages. And then there's like 20 doors down there. I do a lot of writing. I do, just today, I've got 5 things on. Right after this, I have to go do something else. And I'm super busy. Like my friend said to me, you've taken a cool job where you get to work for 20 minutes a day and you've turned it into a full-time nightmare. I now work longer hours than I used to work in advertising, but I'm loving it. I get tired and cranky in the morning, but the longer my day goes, where you think you'd get tired and cranky, I just feel better and better as the day. By the time I get home, I'm so happy, because I look back, I go, I've had the best day possible. Like even today, I'm going to do the coolest stuff you guys can't even imagine. Because I don't know where you go to from here, your office job, and maybe that is what you want to do. Maybe that is your click. But that was not my click. Otherwise, I wouldn't have spent 40 hours a week minimum with headphones on. So that is my story. That's how I got into comedy, by accident and Friday drinks trolley involved. And I just kind of stuck with it, floored it through the cars. So that's it. I almost felt like I should have ended that with a backflip. I should have ended that with a backflip. There's no ba-ding, there's no drum roll at the end of it, because the story still goes on. I'm still working at it.